today we are quite excited as women to have been given an opportunity to share our experiences and to explore how as women we can further advance ourselves. And the session is really going to be discussing the women empowerment, women's engagement in tourism in Africa. And today with me I have a panelist who are going to be helping us all together to discuss this session. On my right, I have Honorable Thokozile, Honorable Governor Thokozile Mathuthu. I think she doesn't need more introduction. We all know her. And further, we have Dr. De Villiers. He used to be with the UNWTO as the Deputy Secretary General. He still works with UNWTO and he has done quite a lot of work in tourism. He's very much experienced in tourism. Next to Dr. De Villiers, we have Adele Black. She is the president of Affluent Hospitality Group. Next to her is Sharon Stead. She is with she's the marketing director of Amalinda Group of Lodges Hospitality. Those are this is the panelists who are going to help us with our session today. I will probably break the ice before the panelists explore this area and share with you a few indicators that I've observed in the women's empowerment in tourism. Tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors. It is one of the most talked about and discussed sector today. And among most of the discussions, debates have arose on issues such as the sustainability of tourism, the ability of tourism to alleviate poverty, the ability of tourism to advance young people and women, and the ability of tourism to generate the much needed foreign currency, particularly for developing countries. However, questions have also arose on how far has the tourism sector be able to advance women issues. And in 2007, the UNWTO, they had a theme which was tourism opens doors to women. And today, we want to see how much or how wide have the doors been opened for tourism, for women to participate in tourism. In 2010, the UNWTO, they commissioned a report to investigate how women are participating in tourism. And I will share with you some of the key findings from this report. Women make up large proportion of the formal tourism workforce. Women are well represented in clerical and menial positions in the tourism industry. Women are earning 10 to 15% less than their male counterparts. Tourism has twice as many women employees as other sectors of the economy. 1 in 5 worldwide ministers are women. Unpaid work in family tourism businesses is mostly by women. These are some of the highlights to show how we are as women in the tourism industry. Coming closer home, the Ministry of Women Affairs in Zimbabwe, they also constituted a research to find out where women were in as far as tourism is concerned. And the same trend which reflects in the worldwide also is applicable to the Zimbabwean situation, where in terms of the low level employment, women are quite dominant, but as you climb higher up the ladder, you don't see women there. In terms of entrepreneurship, you see lots of women in small operated takeaway restaurants, small lodges, but when you come to big hospitality groups, you don't see women there. So today, in terms of statistics, 39% in Zimbabwe of those employed in tourism are women, and only 11% leadership positions. So today, ladies and gentlemen who are here to help us, to advance us, as women, we are saying we don't want to continue being in the circle of concern. We want to expand our circle of influence. And today, with the panel here, they will assist me, and we will leave more time to have comments from the women who are out in the floor, to share with us the experiences that they have had, to share with us the challenges that they are facing, the practical issues that we need to address. Thank you very much. Having said this, I think I will now ask Dr. De Villiers to share with you your thoughts and views about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very great privilege for me, particularly in my capacity as Chairman of the UNWTO World Committee for Tourism Ethics, to participate in this session, Women's Empowerment. We live in a very challenging time of our history, a time when we face so many uncertainties. Our uncertainty about the financial situation in the world, about economic recovery, about rising unemployment and conflicts that affect the lives of millions of people. Whichever way we look at our world, we can only conclude that we need a set of shared values and standards, an ethical framework, I like to call it, meaningful enough to guide us through the volatilities and difficulties of our times. Now, the principal policy document of UNWTO is the Global Code of Ethics for Tourism, and that document provides such an ethical roadmap. The code serves as a guide for key players in the different sectors of the industry to act in a responsible way and to continue with responsible and sustainable tourism. Tourism, as our chair has said, has grown tremendously over the last number of decades. It is a powerful economic source for growth and economic development. It constitutes 30% of the world's exports and services and employ between 7 and 8% of the workforce in the world. And it is the primary source of foreign exchange for the vast majority of developing countries. True for African countries around the continent as well. No doubt, we all know, we're all in the tourism industry, tourism is a good news story. But unfortunately, not all tourism is good. There is a downside. The lack of an ethical foundation in the sector can precipitate serious problems such as pollution, environmental degradation, and it includes the exploitation of people, particularly women and children. Gender inequality and discrimination against women in the tourism sector is one of the challenges that we urgently have to address. The empowering of women and the redressing of inequality is a high priority in the UNWTO work program of action. In 2008, UNWTO decided to establish a program on gender issues that was linked to the Millennium Development Goals and the Global Code of Ethics. In that same year, UNWTO signed an agreement, a framework for cooperation with UNIFEM, which is now called UN Women. In 2011 and 2012, UNWTO held 3 major events on gender issues at the 3 most important tourism fairs in the world. FITOUR in Madrid, ITB in Berlin, and World Travel Market in London. The Global Report on Women in Tourism 2010, to which our chairman referred, was the first joint publication by the 2 organizations, UNWTO and UN Women, and the first concrete results of their collaboration. The report marks the first attempt to map women's active participation in the industry in developing countries, focusing on 5 areas: employment, entrepreneurship, leadership, community, and education. The report confirms that tourism can and that tourism does provide opportunities for women. But the report also expressed serious concern about the fact that while tourism is a strong vehicle for the empowerment of women, the economic empowerment shows great inequalities that continue to persist. Great inequalities, particularly, of course, between men and women. The benefits of tourism are unequally distributed between men and women. For example, while women makes up the highest proportion of the tourism workforce, they remain poorly represented at the professional and decision-making levels. Africa, in one respect, is an exception, is doing exceptionally well with regard to women and tourism at the ministerial level. In 2010, a third of all Africa's tourism ministers were women. However, overall, the region has a low proportion of women involved in tertiary education and in business leadership positions. Great disparities exist across the continent, and men remain better paid than women performing the same jobs. To help redress the imbalances, UNWTO's future planned activities include a Women and Tourism Empowerment Program, Women in Tourism Empowerment Program, WITE, and the Tourism and Gender Portal. We are currently seeking funding for WITE, and we have knocked on the door of the European Commission, and we have good signals that we might get the money before the end of this year. This program plans to use vocational and gender training in Africa, the first 2 countries, Tanzania and Gambia, and in the Americas, Mexico and Nicaragua, to further women's empowerment and equality. Notably, and we can follow this example, through partnerships with hotels, chain, and with other major stakeholders. The Online Tourism and Gender Project currently is still in the conceptual phase. That portal will create a forum for the exchange of information, for discussions, and for generating new ideas with a view of improving the women's position in tourism. Only through cooperation between important stakeholders, only if the stakeholders work together, including governments who are important stakeholders in tourism, can we achieve equality for women in tourism. Building on the basis of studies like the UNWTO UN Women Global Report 2010, UNWTO will continue to work hard to make progress towards the goal of equality for all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Dr. De Villiers. I think from his presentation, we all agree that there is a lot that we still need to do as women to achieve what is being perceived we could achieve through tourism. I will now call upon Ms. Black to give your presentation.
What an honor it is to be here. And I must admit to you, in preparing for this, I realize how much I lack knowledge of this subject. My 25, 30 years experience in travel in America has been in America, and it has been a very positive experience. All the other parts of the world, these significant bits of information, it's mind-boggling. I know that I've never been lazy in my life, and yet after I learn things here at this conference and in preparation, I feel like I must have been lazy. There's so much to do and so much more to learn, and so we keep on striving to share our knowledge. It's a big communication thing. In the USA, in particular in Canada, the North American sector is where my expertise lies, and I thought, what can I share with you? I read that wonderful report, 2010, UNWTO.org it is, you can find it there. It's so informative, and it made me realize how much I lack the knowledge to even sit up here and intelligently discuss it with you. So I'm not even going to pretend that I know that. I'm learning as you are. I will tell you though, as women in travel and tourism and empowerment pertains to America, that I do know about, and I'm happy to give you just a very brief bit of information that may help you in your promotion and your sales efforts to bring business to Africa, to various parts of Africa. Women make up about 80% of the travel agencies in America. The travel agencies are the next level from the consumer. The consumer has a desire to go and travel. So you, as a destinations, are generating that interest. And South African Air does a phenomenal job of generating that interest in traveling to Africa. Having said that, the consumer will do the research and look online, and then they will go to the travel agent. There are 80% of those agents who are either working from a home base or in an office, a retail office like a little store front, will be needing to be educated, and this is where the people in sales in South African Air, myself, many people from the hoteliers represented here, we're all educating the travel agents by bringing them over on visits and extending the hospitality. They can see for themselves what is going on and will my clients like to go there. But the fact that 80% are women, I think, is a significant thing, and it's a message needs to be addressed to those 80% of the travel agents who are women. And they're the ones that have about this information, and it's very new, very recent. 80% of the leisure travel decisions in the American realm, North America, are made by women. 80% of the women make the decision within their household, where are we going next on vacation? So between the 80% of all the travel agents are women and 80% of the decision makers for leisure travel are women, you obviously, I think, would leave here knowing that your message needs to address that audience. I think that would be a valuable thing to take home. You must speak to the women in America, the consumer, the travel agent, and the buyer, the consumer. So that is basically what I wanted to share with you. How can you apply what I know to help you when you go back to your respective pertaining to women? And I think that that is a very important bit of information that I can humbly share with you, that there are many women in America that you need to speak with and reach out to. And whenever you can, and this was not something that South African Air knows I'm going to say, and if he's in the room, I hope you don't mind. But there is a team of professional salespeople on the street, feet on the streets, in America. Everywhere I go to the professional meeting where travel agents gather, there's a representative from South African Air. And they're networking and listening to people and encouraging them and educating them. And as we do in sales, it's important to be supportive in every way you can with that airline. They're your ambassador in America, and they're getting your message out to go to your destination. So keep that in mind also. And I'm happy to help you any way that I can with the American market. I'm sorry, I do not have the knowledge. I'm learning. I'm fascinated by this information that I'm learning here, but I'm not knowledgeable enough about African women in travel.
Thank you very much, Adele. I think in as much as she has shared her experiences, she has emphasized the need to network, and she has also emphasized the need to go out there to be more aggressive in the way we conduct our business. And since she mentioned that she's here to help, I'm urging everybody here who want to be in business, in tourism, to get in touch with her and share as much information as possible. This is the whole reason why we are all gathered here. Now I will invite Sharon to share your experiences with us.
Thanks, Sophia. There is no more powerful instinct than that of a mother's love for her children. If you take this primal instinct and apply it to women in business, you have a powerful force. Apply it to tourism and hospitality, which plays a big part in a woman's natural ability. We cook, we clean, we iron, we comfort, and we serve. Then you are up against a fierce game. I'm not hotel trained, and nor do I have qualifications in hospitality, but I do have a love and a passion for my home and my family, and it is that strength that I've applied to my businesses. As a businesswoman and a mother, I like to reflect on some of my history and stories, which I'm sure mirror the same experiences of most women in tourism. And so like Adele, I don't have a huge knowledge on the topic, but I'm just going to share with you how I've come to create our businesses. I was 4 months pregnant when my husband and I became involved in our family business in Matabeleland. It was 1995, and tourism was booming. Those long days of running a bush camp took its toll on my energy levels. But as my pregnancy progressed, the bonus was I was able to keep off my usual pregnancy weight, that all that exercise that we do, so that's my bonus. Our businesses started to grow, and so did our daughter Savannah, who crawled around at my feet as I was checking in clients and entertaining at the dinner table. She became a focus of attention for our international guests and grew up playing with old coupons as toys. Our son was born 3 years later, but this time it wasn't as easy. When he was diagnosed at 2 months old with a rare kidney disease, the specialist didn't have much hope for him. The next few years passed in a blur of hospitals and operations and the internal anguish that a mother endures as she watches helplessly when her child's health and destiny is not in her hands. However, I still worked in the lodge alongside my husband by day and night. This was my own choice. It was during this time of inner turmoil and continuous researching for answers to cure his condition that something changed inside me. I witnessed in Mitchell as he battled for his life, a powerful force to live, as physically powerful as it was contagious. It was here that I reached a turning point in my life and my career. I learned a valuable lesson that would change the way I conducted our businesses and how we integrated or impacted our community. My compassion for other women out there who experienced the same pain was overwhelming. Yet they did not have the same resources to help themselves as I did. As a mother in Africa, I now understood. So I created a basic vision, which was later to become a mission statement for a trust I was to call Mother Africa. We were to embark on voluntourism whereby we could create purpose-driven safaris and extend our hand into the community in order to positively affect others' lives. We needed people to work alongside us in this quest because we could not do it alone. To support the communities that surround our lodges. And the success of this venture today remains my most significant celebration of our son's survival. But that's another story. As the years went by, our kids' milestones were matched by those of our tourism industry here in Zimbabwe. We queued for fuel and food supplies alongside the households that were catering for their own families, except we were catering for bigger ones. So fast forward a few more years to 2006. At the height of our economic demise, Savannah was now 10 and swimming for Zimbabwe and breaking records in South Africa. I was presented with an opportunity that I couldn't allow pass us by. It meant taking a huge leap in faith to grow our businesses twofold, but we required confidence in our industry and our country that things would turn around so that we could succeed. And if so, the question was, when? Not being led by researching facts or figures, but rather by that same instinct I had when developing North Africa, I decided to explore this prospect against all the odds. We were offered a safari lodge near Wangi National Park, some 300 kilometers away from our home and lodge in the Matabeleland Hills. Everyone in my family, including my husband, the real hotelier, was against the idea. The property was a broken down mess, the risk too great, and would take immense capex and energy before we could operate it at the same standard as our lodge in Turkis. But I wouldn't rest. I wanted it like a woman craves an unborn child. I dreamed, I yearned, and I desired it so badly, for no other reason other than that in my heart I knew we could make it work. Why? Because I believed. Because of that same woman's innate sense, a force which any woman in this room can identify with. And so I willed it to happen. And while this many men in this room will conclude that I was probably a beast to live with until I got my own way. I don't know about that, you'll have to ask my husband, he'll probably agree with you. And although our lodge in Matabeleland Hills is our flagship to this day, the lodge in Wangi, now 6 years old, has recorded higher occupancies and offers a diversity of experiences that actually complements what is found in Matabeleland Hills. And whilst I talk today like I've achieved what I have because I'm a woman, I must be clear and make mention that without my husband and my family, who have supported my endeavors and my dreams, I would not have come this far. They have been patient and consistently supported my ambitions. Perhaps the art of what I've come to understand is a form of manipulation. I think that's too strong a word. I'd like to think it's more finding opportunity to prosper amongst adversity. Certainly this was the case when I stumbled across a venture that was to change the face of an old gentleman's club, a tradition, and an historical gentleman's club. Described later as being the start of renewal in my hometown of Aware, I met with a committee of 12 prickly men in 2008 and presented my proposal to change the establishment into a boutique hotel. But let me say here that the hardest part of this venture was again convincing my husband that this calculated risk was worth taking. I am fortunate to be identified in my family as being equal, and this has enabled me to stretch and reach for the stars. However, after many years of uncertainty, of homelessness when my house burned to the ground, the club proposition took its toll on my family, and it almost cost me my marriage. Had I pushed too hard? Over these growing years, I've forgotten nurturing. Nurturing is a woman's fundamental emotion. Was I nurturing the business at the expense of my family? And was it worth it? I learned a valuable life lesson, which, had I not heeded, would have ruined everything we women work for. Recognition, identity, and respect. But most of all, being loved and cherished. After 6 months of negotiations with our club members, we reached an agreement that would see myself as basically the first woman ever to take over a men's-only club. A very brave move for their members after almost 150 years of tradition. Changing the perception that women are now allowed, and not as previously required, to be in this building was no mean feat. And so I did the unexpected. I hired a woman to be our first general manager when we opened our doors in 2009. And I'd like to pay tribute here and thank publicly a dynamic woman whose courage and in-depth knowledge of the hospitality trade and whose love of our country and its people matched, if not exceeded, mine. Whose tourism prowess was challenged daily as a black woman in what was previously believed to be a white male-run establishment. But who still succeeded in changing these perceptions and is to this day a force to be reckoned with. And this woman is Hazel Gumpo. Hazel has taken her skills further and is now GM in the Affluent Hotel in Ghana. And I know she has a reputation there as a leader who inspires many others of our same gender. Today our daughter Savannah is 16 years old and has represented Zimbabwe in both swimming and water polo. She is the new generation of women of Africa, with hopes, dreams, and ambitions to touch the stars, and it is my duty to encourage and nurture that. Mitchell is 13, and whilst his rare kidney disease will be with him forever, he is a marvel of modern medicine and lives a very normal and exciting life in his beloved wilds of Zimbabwe. Loving nature and humanity, with a humility that inspires me every day. So what have I learned along the way? We women have innate talents, which we can turn to our advantage in business. We listen better, we see detail better, we have more empathy than men. More than that, we can powerfully use the instinct to nurture our businesses as we do our families. Men think they are competitive, and they are. But let me take an analogy from the animal world. Take the instinct of a female leopard protecting her cubs, and you have an image of the power a woman can bring to bear, should she choose to. I also learned the importance of accepting support. The support, firstly, of your own family, if you are privileged enough to have it, but also of other life partners, mentors, people who have taken an interest in your progress. Accept their support with both hands. There's the importance of accepting opportunities that come your way. The most unacceptable excuse for missing an opportunity in today's Western world has to be because you're a woman. And finally, the importance of endurance, of staying in the race as long as it takes. And I repeat, stay in the race for as long as it takes, because you'll be amazed at what happens along the way. I'd like to ask all the women and men here that you remember this famous line, which I'd like to attribute to the ATA 37th Annual Congress here in Big Falls. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for sharing such a passionate story about your life in the tourism industry. I think we have all learned how much she worked so hard and kept hanging on and holding on and pushing on to achieve what she really wanted, and the support she got from her family. And really the different roles that she had to play and to balance off. And today we are happy that you are a successful woman in tourism, Sharon. Thank you. She was late for the board meeting, as usual. This was the second time this month. Even when she got into the meeting, she was dozing. When it was time for her to speak, she realized then that her notes were left by the kitchen sink. Oh dear. Her alarm had gone off at 4 a.m. and that startled Junior. It took a good 30 minutes to calm Junior. You see, when she finished her household chores the previous night, there was a power cut. And she could not print her notes. Now Junior wanted to be part of the preparation for the meeting. As the page completed printing, Junior pulled it out and drew funny faces on it. Of course, she could not be promoted. The top CEO part she had worked hard to attain had gone to her male counterpart. Does that sound familiar? I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of the panel discussion views on the topic on women and tourism. In my discussions, I have confined myself to the province of Matabeleland North, a region that is hosting this conference. As I alluded to in my welcome remarks on Saturday, we host the majestic Victoria Falls, the Zambezi River, the Wange National Park, a number of conservancies, and other various tourism products. The province is probably the richest in terms of natural resources, as it has hardwood timber. Coal is abundantly available, and we have large water bodies, that is the Zambezi River and the Kariba Dam, which starts from the province. Statistics show that women produce 60% of the arts and crafts in Zimbabwe, and this figure should also apply at provincial level for the province under review. In the province, women have continued to play their role in the tourism sector. We have women who are involved with art and craft in our district of Binga. They do handcrafts, and famous amongst the products are the baskets and mats, which have found their way around the world. The raw materials are found in the region and sustainable, harvested using hand tools. Challenges in this area include lack of large markets, and more critical is the lack of capital to commercialize the operations. Establishments of village production centers and women's craft centers will indeed enhance this sector. We have also women in the Kwai area, who is a conservancy, but we have women who are involved in the production of pottery, and these products have also found markets in both local and international visitors to the area. The production is influenced by the availability of clay and firewood. Challenges include the mobilization of coal for use in firing the clay products. In tour operations, I'm proud to say the province has witnessed the involvement and growth in tourism as operators at a lower level and as key drivers in the policy making, taking the stake of 16%, representing the national figures. Thank you. Large adventure companies were at some point driven by a woman. Hello. The Elephant Walk, a popular shopping mall in Victoria Falls, the popular village craft village, Tatenda safaris, and other operations are associated with women leadership and ownership. Hotels have also been associated with women whose involvement has witnessed steady growth. One such icon in the tourism industry in Victoria Falls is Mrs. Barbara Rahela, who rose from being a chartered accountant and finance director, and finally, virtually a managing director of Shearwater Adventurers. Where are the other women? We will be hosting the General Assembly in 2030. And I want to urge all of us, all of you, who have involved ourselves in tourism activities to develop these so that we benefit from the, the big program which is coming our way. But the banks, are you user-friendly for women? When the women come seeking for loans, do they get the attention and assistance they deserve? I would like also to challenge the banks locally to partner women and women programs and projects, especially in tourism, because we are here today. We are gaining experience from what all the presenters have imparted to us. We are learning for a lot. I have learned a lot and I appreciate. But we need an environment which is conducive for women development in tourism. Some of the challenges we face, maybe there is this saying that women can't work together. I think it's a myth. Because I work with women, my provincial administrator is a woman, my personal assistant is a woman. The one I fired and re-engaged. I have got 3 women who are district administrators. The list is endless. What we should learn as women maybe is complement each other and not compete against each other. So that we benefit from the economic growth. What Barbara knows as a chartered accountant, I don't know. I have to go to her and others who have experience and learn. Other challenges facing women in Zimbabwe is access to financial resources to support and sustain their operations, the lack of steady markets for those in the arts and crafts sector, training for better management and operation of tourism-based projects, and limited access to national and international markets. I thank you. Thank you very much, Mama. As usual, she's always inspirational and challenging us to do even greater and better things, to achieve even more in whatever areas we are into. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have just been told we can't proceed anymore. So maybe I would advise that after this session, we can continue networking outside the session. And for the Zimbabwe, we are going to create a Facebook page for women in tourism in Zimbabwe, where we can share our different experiences and all other issues that we have. At this moment, I would like to thank the great panel I had today who shared different experiences, and I'm sure we all learned quite a lot from their stories because they were all unique and different. Thank you very much.